Welcome to Hansel Financial. Do you spend more than you make? If that's you, which the majority of people are, then stay tuned. We're going to talk about some things to help you with that. So sadly, the average American does spend more than what they actually bring home every single month. Again, I don't know why that is. I have a few thoughts. I think a lot of times people try and live up to the Joneses, as it were. It could be their neighbors or their family members or maybe just possible friends, and so they're spending on things that are living above their means, spending on things not able to afford, things that are more of wants instead of needs. And so in this video, we're going to talk about some of those items that the majority of people who do spend more than what they bring in every single month, what they're spending that money on. And hopefully this will help you realize maybe you're spending more money than what you're bringing in, and hopefully you can learn something from this video and be able to cut down those expenses every single month. So a common area in someone's life that I noticed that people spend more than what they can actually afford is with their car payments, with their cars or their trucks. Now, I'm sure everyone is very aware of how the car market is right now. It's very volatile, ups and downs. Car prices are up, new car prices are down, used car prices, so on and so forth. And so what I've noticed a lot of people is that they basically purchase more than what they can actually afford with their car, and then they have to sacrifice in other areas, or worst case scenario, they might even have to have their car repoed back from the bank because they cannot afford the payments anymore. And so obviously we don't want that to happen. And so we want to be smart when we do our car purchases, making sure that our monthly payment is going to be fit within your budget, and you don't want to spend above that and go into real debt to purchasing a car. Now, best case scenario is you want to make sure that you purchase your car with cash. But not everyone is able to do that, and so I recommend trying to keep the financing to 4 years. And with those 4 years, you want to try and keep that car payment around 10% of what your income is or less every single month. And so by doing this, it's going to really help you stay on top of your budget for your car payment and your overall expenses with the budget every single month. And it's going to make sure that you're not spending above your means, spending that money on a very expensive car. And again, at the end of the day, a car is meant to get you from point A to point B. Yes, I know some of the bells and whistles is nice, but if you think about it logically and really think about it, I mean, is it really worth spending all this money having $1,000 car payment on a car that you drive in an hour or two, if that, every single day? So again, we want to be smart with our purchases. We want to make sure that we are thoroughly researching cars and thinking about that major purchase before we go out and purchase that car that could put us over the edge with our income. So another area that I've noticed that people might spend more than what they can actually afford is going to be travel. I know that some people love to travel. I know me personally and my family, we enjoy traveling, but when we do travel, I try and use my cash back points or my credit cards to pay for our travel, so that way we're not paying out of pocket or help pay the majority of our travel. But if you don't have credit cards with the cash back, again, it's not the end of the world. You can still pay for those vacations, but I highly recommend that you try and save up enough money so that you can just pay off that vacation all at once, that you are not trying to finance it or basically put on a credit card and paying it off every single month, for the span of a couple months, because again, that's going to incur interest, which is basically going to make your vacation cost more than what it actually is. What I see a lot of people do is they try and go on these crazy vacations, and they really shouldn't, because they cannot afford to pay for that vacation outright in cash. A very popular vacation spot that I see families go to is Disney World. Now, I grew up going to Disney World. I absolutely love Disney World. Plan on taking my family and my toddler, my newborn, there in a couple of years, but again, I'm going to save up and plan for that. What I read is that the average cost, I believe it's a family of 4, I believe it's $5,000 for a week trip in Disney, which is just outrageous. So if you're planning that trip, again, I highly recommend that you try and save up for that trip, and do not put that trip on credit cards, or worse, take out a personal loan that has interest on it. If you're not able to pay it off in full in the beginning, you're going to be paying more money in the back end because of the interest that's going to be occurring. Make sure that you plan out your vacation ahead of time, financially plan them, so that way you're not having to pay extra money on interest to pay those off. Again, you want to be smart with your money. By doing this, it's going to help you save money in the long haul. So all of us need to purchase items every single month, if that's from clothing to gadgets, electronics, to purses if you're a woman, to whatever the case might be. But what I see a lot of people do is they spend money on those items, but they buy the more expensive items, maybe the more name brands or luxury things that are very expensive, and that honestly do the exact same purpose as something that is much cheaper or is off-brand or something like that. Always constantly buying those purchases that are luxury, that you really do not need that amount of money for that item, is going to really hurt you in the long run, and might even hurt you in the short run as well if you cannot afford it. Now, if you have a high income and you can afford those more luxury items, then by all means, go for it if you have the finances for it every single month. But the majority of people are not able to afford those luxury items, and so again, I would recommend, remember, really think through those purchases, research it, Maybe try and find a alternative that is as good, if not maybe even better than those more expensive things. Again, at the end of the day, those items do the exact same thing as the cheaper items. They might just have a bit nicer of a brand, maybe slightly better quality. But again, at the end of the day, this is going to help save you money in the long run and help you keep you underneath that budget every single month of your income. I might get some heat on this one, but I'm going to talk about subscriptions. Now, I know everything in this world seems like you have to pay per month to access something. Obviously, back in the day, you have a one-time purchase of, let's just say, Adobe, and for years and years never to pay anything else. Now I feel like everything from streaming to music to maybe some type of editing software or photography, whatever the case might be, it's now all set up on a monthly subscription. And I bet you that you're not using all those subscriptions. There's probably a couple of them that you can cut back on. Again, there's almost so much time in a day that you can watch shows or movies on. Yes, I know there's movies on certain streaming devices and that kind of thing, but I'm sure there is somewhere that you can cancel a few subscriptions, save you some money. Again, in the long haul over a year, that could be hundreds of dollars that you save just by canceling a couple of those subscriptions that reoccur every single month. And again, if you have the budget for those within your monthly income, then by all means, go ahead and you do those. But again, if you're trying to find somewhere that you can squeeze a couple dollars here and there, and over a year save a few $100s, then canceling some of those unused subscriptions might be the key for you to help stick you underneath your budget per month and help you not to spend more than what you bring in on a monthly basis. Let's talk about eating out at restaurants. Now, I know most people go out and they enjoy their meals out at a restaurant, dinner, lunch, or whatever it is. I would, again, highly recommend you to actually look at your past month and see how much money you actually spent at those restaurants within that month. I bet you it's going to surprise you of how much money that you spent. It could be $100 every single month that you spent on those restaurants. Instead of spending money on those restaurants and dining out, instead go to the grocery store, shop the sales, grab your meat, grab your veggie, grab your carbs, whatever the case is that you want to make, and make it at home. You're going to save a ton of money by cooking at home. You can cook whatever you want, and most of the time that food is going to be healthier for you because you're cooking it at home. And again, you don't know what they're using in the restaurants. They could be using a ton of butter, a ton of salt, bad types of oils, that kind of stuff. But when you're cooking it at home, you know exactly what's going into that meal. You're going to be eating healthier in terms of that. And guess what? One of the great benefits of eating healthy is you might even lose some weight by eating more at home than going out to eat. Because I know for us, when we go out to eat, sometimes it might be at a fast food restaurant. Fast food is not the healthiest for you at all. You can cut back from eating out at fast food. Instead, for lunch, make a sandwich. Go to the store, get some deli meat, get some cheese, get some bread, and make yourself a sandwich at home. It's going to save you a ton of cash doing it that way, and it's going to be healthier than eating that fried food and all that processed food from those fast food restaurants. So by not going out to eat as often, again, not saying you can't go out to eat, just be mindful of it. Again, make sure that you're setting a X amount of money per month in your budget to afford to go out to eat, and try and have more meals at home. And again, you might even be surprised that you might lose a couple of pounds. And it's perfect time because it is summertime, so pool season, beach season, so maybe you can shed off a couple of those pounds. All right, so one of the last things I want to kind of talk about is probably going to be your biggest monthly expense that you have, and that's going to be either your mortgage or your rent that you're doing. So with the mortgage and rent, again, you want to make sure that you are purchasing something or renting something that, again, is going to fit within your budget, fit within your monthly income. You do not want to be what I consider house poor. Too much percentage of your monthly income is going to your mortgage or going to your rent, and you're not able to have funds to do fun things because all of your money is eaten up going into your mortgage or going into your rent. And so to figure out what you can actually afford with your mortgage and your rent. I know for mortgage, you don't want it to be, I think it's past 28 or 30% of your monthly income. And rent, I'm going to assume, is right around the same amount as well. You can double check that on Google. There's tons of great articles out there that talk about that more in depth, and you can plug in your numbers and figure out exactly what you can afford every single month. So that way you're not strained about it and going over your budget every single month. Finally, talking about spending more than what you bring in every single month is going to be those impulse purchases. Impulse purchases are going to add up every single month, depending on the amount of money that you spend on each purchase. Like I said, it could be a major impulse purchase or a small impulse purchase, but whatever the case is, most of the time it's not going to be within your budget. It's going to be more of a want than a need in your budget. It's going to basically exceed what your monthly income is going to be. And obviously, we do not want to exceed that monthly income because then again, we're spending more than what we're bringing in. So my rule of thumb with impulse purchasing is, hey, if I want to purchase something, give it a day or two. I like to do my research on things. Maybe I find something better, or maybe you're shopping online and you're looking on different websites, different things like that, and you're able to actually find that product at a cheaper price on a different website, and then you can save some money that way. Or you might wait a couple of days on that impulse purchase that you want to buy, and you might even decide, hey, you know, I'm not really interested in that, or I don't really need that, or I don't want that item anymore. And so you just saved yourself some money by waiting a couple of days and not making that impulse purchase on that item. Well, that's about going to do it for this video. I hope you guys found this video very encouraging, and I hope you guys found some tips and tricks in here to help you if you do spend more than what you make on a monthly basis, that you can take some of these tips and apply it to your own life so that you can get those expenses down and not spend more than what you make. And if you want some other tips and tricks on how to survive in this economy with this high cost of living, I have another video that I posted talking about the high cost of living, some ways to help you navigate that as well. Hope you guys all have a good one.